Some women will cheat, no matter how well you treat them. You gave your time, your money, your best intentions, and still felt blindsided. She said she needed space, but her phone stayed face down. She kept the apps, kept the male attention, and kept you guessing. You tried to be reasonable. You explained, over-explained, forgave, and convinced yourself it was a rough patch. Deep down, you knew the truth. You were ignoring red flags because you wanted the dream more than the reality. This video is your reset. We are going to map the patterns that predict betrayal before it happens. You will learn the difference between privacy and secrecy, attention and affection, chemistry and chaos. You will see why some women chase validation more than loyalty, and how a calm, stoic frame protects you better than any argument. No drama, no gossip, just clear psychology and decisive action. By the end, you will know exactly what to watch for, what to do when you see it, and when to walk early with your dignity and peace intact. If you are a grown man who values respect over excuses, subscribe now and stay with me. The next few minutes may save you months of confusion and years of regret. I will also show you the one boundary that exposes a cheater within days without drama. Let's get into it. Number 1. The woman who trades love for lifestyle. There's a special kind of woman who doesn't fall in love with you. She falls in love with what your life represents. The restaurants, the car, the weekends away, the comfort. To her, affection isn't emotional, it's transactional. Her attention is currency, and your generosity is the exchange rate. Let's be honest, most men don't spot this type right away. She doesn't come off greedy at first. She comes off impressed. You feel powerful, admired, even respected. But slowly the pattern appears. She compliments your watch more than your words. She leans in closer when you talk about your job, but drifts away when you talk about your goals. She's drawn to your status, not your soul. Take Brian, 42, a successful contractor from Texas. After his divorce, he met Emily, 36, at a charity event. She was charming, elegant, and made him feel young again. Within weeks, she was tagging along to client dinners, posting pictures from his lake house, and saying things like, "You really make me feel safe." But when Brian's business hit a slow month, the texts got shorter. The affection cooled. The "I miss you" turned into "I've just been busy." She wasn't addicted to him. She was addicted to the life around him. Now contrast that with what Stoic philosophy teaches. Epictetus said wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. The woman who constantly needs to be entertained, upgraded, or reassured is a person with endless wants. She cannot love because she's never content long enough to connect. Her affection will always follow her comfort. Here's the quiet truth: when love becomes a lifestyle, loyalty becomes conditional. She'll stay as long as the environment feeds her ego. Once the spotlight dims, she'll find another source of light. You can't fix that. You can only recognize it early. A Stoic man doesn't chase validation through provision. He provides because it's who he is, not because he expects devotion in return. The moment you start buying peace, you lose your frame. The moment she expects it, you lose respect. And here's what most men get wrong. They think, if I just give her more, she'll finally relax. But it's the opposite. The more you feed that hunger, the larger it grows. You're not curing her insecurity, you're financing it. So how do you spot her early? Watch for where her excitement lives. Does she light up when you walk in the room or when the bill does? Does she ask about your day or about your next trip? These small questions reveal big truths. Brother, understand this: love that depends on luxury will collapse the moment life tests it, and life will test it. The Stoic man doesn't fear losing such a woman. He fears losing himself trying to keep her. If you're starting to see these signs in someone, pause. Don't panic. Just observe. Detach emotionally and see how quickly her warmth cools when your energy isn't feeding her world. That's your answer. Before we move on, I want you to write one thing in the comments to anchor your mindset moving forward. Type, I choose peace over pretense. Because when you truly believe that no woman who trades love for lifestyle will ever control you again. And stay with me, because the next type of woman is even more dangerous. She doesn't just use men, she keeps collecting them. Ignore what's coming next and you might miss the clearest red flag of all. Number 2. Still swiping, still searching. Here's one of the most subtle yet most dangerous red flags modern men ignore. She's still on dating apps. Maybe she says, "Oh, I just forgot to delete it," or "It's just for fun, I don't even use it." But here's the truth. No woman keeps a door open unless she plans to walk through it again. In today's world, attention has become a form of currency. And the woman who keeps swiping while in a relationship isn't necessarily looking for someone new. She's making sure she still can. She doesn't want connection, she wants confirmation. She wants to know she's still desired, still wanted, still powerful. This is the silent addiction of modern dating validation. You think she's loyal because she's physically with you, but emotionally, she's halfway back in the marketplace. Each like, each match, each message is a tiny dose of dopamine, a reminder that she still has options. And this is where many men fall into the trap. They start policing her, asking for proof, demanding honesty. But remember what Marcus Aurelius wrote: "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. Trying to control her actions will only drain your peace. The Stoic approach is not to chase or argue, it's to observe. Let her behavior reveal her priorities. If she values you, the app will delete itself. If she values attention, she'll keep it alive. You don't need to fight for loyalty. Loyalty proves itself through action. And let's be clear, this isn't about insecurity. It's about integrity. A woman who says she's committed, but keeps an escape hatch open, is showing you her mindset. She's not all in. She's testing how much she can get away with before you notice. Here's the harsh truth. When a woman is truly invested in a man, she doesn't want backup plans. She doesn't want options. She wants him. But when she's unsure, or when she's with you for validation, instead of value, she'll keep searching. Not for someone better, but for someone new. Now, what does a Stoic man do when he realizes this? He doesn't confront in anger. He doesn't beg for closure. He steps back detached and watches the situation unfold. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid. Let her think you didn't notice. Let her believe she's still winning. In silence, you're reclaiming your power. Because the man who doesn't chase creates an emotional void, and that void reveals who was truly invested. When she feels that distance, the absence of your attention, she'll have two choices: delete the app or double down on the game. Either way, she exposes her truth. So if you ever feel that uneasy gut feeling, that subtle instinct, something's off, trust it. A Stoic man doesn't react to suspicion. He respects intuition. Now, if you've ever dealt with this before, I want you to write it in the comments to ground your mindset moving forward. Say, "I see through the game." Because once you truly see through it, you'll never fall for it again. Stay right here, because next we'll uncover the most deceptive sign of betrayal, the one that hides behind silence and secrecy. If you walk away now, you might never recognize it when it's right in front of you. Number 3. Secrets, silence, and the hidden phone. Every man who's been betrayed knows this moment, that strange quiet shift when the person you're with starts guarding their phone like it's a state secret. The screen always facing down. The quick swipes when you walk into the room. The casual, "It's just my friend," followed by silence that feels heavier than words. You tell yourself it's nothing. You trust her. You don't want to be the jealous guy. But deep down, your gut knows something's off. You feel the energy change long before you ever see the evidence. Let's take a real example. Jason, 39, from Chicago, thought he was in a solid relationship. His girlfriend, Mia, 34, was affectionate, funny, and attentive until she wasn't. She started staying up late scrolling, saying she was just watching videos. Then the late replies began. The goodnight texts that used to come at 10 p.m. suddenly came at 1 a.m. One night, she left her phone unlocked by accident. Jason didn't even need to scroll. One notification told him everything. It wasn't the message that broke him. It was the pattern. The secrecy, the withdrawal, the way her energy turned cold. That's what kills men more than infidelity itself. Realizing that the woman they trusted became a stranger while sitting right beside them. Here's where Stoicism hits hard. Seneca once said, "No man is crushed by misfortune unless he has first been deceived by prosperity." Meaning it's not the betrayal that destroys you, it's the illusion that blinded you before it happened. When you mistake silence for peace, secrecy for privacy, and detachment for independence, you're setting yourself up for heartbreak. A Stoic man learns to read energy, not excuses. If her phone is always hidden, if her communication shifts from open to vague, if she suddenly values privacy more than connection, that's data. You don't need proof to see truth. This isn't about controlling her, it's about controlling your focus. When a woman starts building a digital life away from you, it's not your job to chase her. It's your responsibility to guard your own boundaries. As Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing what a good man should be one. In other words, don't lower your standards to keep someone who's already leaving in spirit. Let's be clear, a phone doesn't cause distance, it reveals it. Technology just amplifies what's already inside a person. A loyal woman has nothing to hide. A deceitful one needs constant cover. When you notice secrecy creeping in, don't start an argument. Go silent. Go still. Stop feeding attention into a system that's starving you of respect. Watch what happens when your energy disappears. If she's honest, she'll bridge the gap. If she's not, she'll fill it with someone else. Either way, you'll see her truth. Now, here's what I want you to remember. You can't fix what someone's hiding if they want to hide it. But you can protect your peace by refusing to chase it. Type this in the comments if this hits home. I protect my peace. Because once you truly understand that no silence or secret can control you again, and trust me, what's coming next will sting. Because in the next part, we'll expose the emotional games that make even the strongest men lose control. Miss it, and you might never recognize manipulation when it's disguised as love. Number 4. The ex she doesn't care about. When a woman says she doesn't care about her ex, listen carefully, because often that's not the whole truth. You'll hear phrases like, "He's just part of the past," or "I don't even think about him anymore." But if his name keeps coming up in conversation, if her emotions still spike when he's mentioned, or if she subtly compares you to him, she cares. Just not in the way she wants you to think. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Emotional residue is real. People don't just erase connections, they replace them. And if you're not careful, you might become the emotional placeholder for someone else's unfinished story. You can feel it, can't you? That moment when she laughs a little too hard at a memory involving him, or when she gets defensive the moment you ask what really happened. She says it's nothing, but her tone betrays her. The silence that follows isn't peace, it's attachment disguised as indifference. A Stoic man sees through this illusion. As Epictetus said, "We suffer not from the events in our lives, but from our judgment about them." She's still judging herself through the shadow of her past. Her emotions toward her ex, whether love, anger, or indifference, are not yours to fix. They're hers to resolve. This is where most men fail. They try to compete with a ghost. They think if they love harder, if they're more patient, if they give her everything her ex didn't, she'll finally move on. But that's not how emotional detachment works. You can't rewrite her history by being the opposite of it. The more you try to heal her, the more she sees you as a therapist, not a lover. The Stoic approach is to stay grounded. You observe, not absorb. You don't react when she brings him up, you listen calmly. You don't interrogate, you interpret. If she's still emotionally tied to him, Her actions will show it. Her words will wobble, her attention will shift, and her emotional availability will fluctuate. That's not a cue to chase, it's a cue to protect your peace. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." The modern translation, "The best way to outshine her past is to not fight it at all." Don't mirror her insecurity by reacting. Don't demand that she forget him. Instead, stand tall in your calm. Let her see what true emotional maturity looks like. Stability that doesn't need validation. If she's still tied to her ex, she's living in emotional debt. You can't repay that for her. You can only choose not to fund it with your time and energy. Here's the quiet power move: you stay steady. You let her notice the difference between a man who reacts and a man who simply is. Over time, she'll either elevate to match your peace or drift back into the chaos she's used to. Either way, you win, because you never let her past become your present. Now, before we move forward, let's talk about your own growth. If you're ready to go deeper into mastering these psychological dynamics, how women test, why attraction shifts, and how Stoic detachment makes you unshakable, join the Stoic Brotherhood membership. It's where men like you learn the deeper layers of masculine calm and emotional dominance. The link's in the description. And stay with me, because in the next part we'll expose one of the most seductive types of betrayal, when love becomes a competition for control. You don't want to miss that. Number 5. The woman who hides you from her world. You know that uneasy feeling when you've been seeing someone for a while, but somehow you're invisible in her world. You're not in her pictures. You've never met her friends. She dodges questions about what you two are, and every time you bring it up, she smiles and says, "I just like to keep my private life private." That's exactly what happened to David, 42, from Austin. He'd been dating Sarah, 37, for 6 months. She was affectionate, passionate, and made him feel like he was the only man in the room, at least when it was just the two of them. But when it came to the rest of her life, David didn't exist. No family introductions, no posts, not even in her stories. It was as if their relationship lived only between 4 walls. At first, David thought she was being cautious, mature even. But one night he overheard her on the phone saying, "I'm just hanging out with a friend." That word "friend" hit harder than he expected, because that's when the truth landed. She wasn't protecting privacy, she was protecting options. See, men often mistake secrecy for intimacy. They think that being someone's private connection makes them special, but it doesn't. It makes them temporary. When a woman hides you, she's not being discreet. She's managing perception. She doesn't want to commit to the image of being yours. She wants to keep her reputation open, her appeal unchallenged, and her safety net intact. Let's get real. When a woman truly values a man, she doesn't hide him. She might not post you every day, but she'll place you in her world. Her friends will know about you. Her actions will align with her words. But when she keeps things vague, when every date feels like a secret mission, that's not emotional depth, that's emotional distance. The problem is, men like David tend to rationalize it. They tell themselves, "She's just cautious," or "She's been hurt before." But behind that rationalization is fear. Fear of losing the little connection they have if they demand more. Here's where Stoicism steps in like a hard truth serum. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Apply that to your relationships. If a woman's actions don't feel right, if they don't match the honesty you bring, that's not something to debate, it's something to see. A Stoic man doesn't beg for clarity. He observes patterns, not promises. When he senses he's being hidden, he doesn't argue or demand visibility. He steps back, not to punish her, but to reassert control over his own dignity. Because here's the truth. If you stay in the shadows too long, you'll start to believe that's where you belong. And that's when a man begins to lose himself, chasing the illusion of intimacy that only exists behind closed doors. Don't be that man. You deserve a relationship that breathes in the open, not one that suffocates in silence. Now, if you've ever found yourself in this kind of hidden relationship type, this in the comments: I choose respect. Because once you choose respect, you'll never settle for secrecy again. Stay right here, because what comes next will sting. We're about to dive into a truth that makes even the strongest men question everything when love isn't about connection anymore, but control. Trust me, you don't want to miss that one. Number 6. All her friends are men. When a woman tells you, "I just get along better with guys," take a moment before you nod and smile. Because what sounds like confidence or independence often hides something deeper, a pattern of validation, not connection. There's a reason this type of woman surrounds herself with men. On the surface, she'll say it's because women are too much drama, or that guys are just easier to talk to. But if you look closer, you'll notice a consistent theme. Every male friend gives her something: attention, affirmation, a sense of being desired without commitment. It's emotional leverage disguised as friendship. From a Stoic perspective, this isn't about jealousy. It's about awareness. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. That means you can't control her social circle, but you can control how you interpret it. If you ignore the signs thinking your calmness makes you secure, you're not being stoic, you're being blind. When a woman constantly keeps male friends close, she's keeping her ego fed. These men orbit her because she offers a taste of attention they crave, and she thrives on the subtle power it gives her. She can flirt lightly, get emotional support when things get rough, and always have a fallback audience ready to remind her that she's wanted. And here's the hard truth. Women like this rarely commit emotionally to one man because their identity is built around external validation. The moment you start pulling away, they'll instinctively reach for another friend to fill that void. Someone who will say, "He doesn't deserve you," or "You're too good for him." From a Stoic lens, this is where your test begins. Epictetus taught, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." So what's your reaction when you realize she's constantly surrounded by male attention? Do you confront her demand she cuts them off, or silently compete with her friends? None of those responses help. The real move is detachment, not from her, but from the need to control her. You can't force loyalty. You can only observe behavior and act according to your principles. A woman who values your connection will naturally establish boundaries. She'll make it clear that her friendships are respectful. But a woman who constantly flirts with those boundaries is telling you exactly where her priorities lie in attention, not alignment. Remember, calm observation is not weakness, it's power. A Stoic man doesn't react to temptation. He reveals it by staying composed. When you stop chasing reassurance, her behavior will expose itself. Either she adjusts out of respect, or she drifts toward the chaos she secretly prefers. The question isn't whether she can have male friends. It's whether those friendships are built on integrity or impulse. In relationships, peace doesn't come from trust without awareness. It comes from awareness without fear. When you master that, no situation, no person can shake your sense of worth. So, take this truth with you. A woman who needs the attention of many men cannot give herself fully to one. You don't need to punish her or fix her. Just step back and let her reality unfold. As Seneca once said, "He who is brave is free." Be brave enough to walk away from anything that makes you question your peace, because real strength isn't in winning her attention, it's in not needing it. And in the next part, we're going to uncover something even more subtle, the hidden behaviors that reveal when a woman's attraction has already started to fade. Stay sharp, you'll want to hear this one. Number 7. Addicted to validation, not connection. You ever meet a woman who seems to need attention like it's oxygen? Every post she makes, every story she shares, every selfie uploaded, it's designed for reaction, not reflection. And when she doesn't get it, you can feel her energy drop, her tone change, her warmth disappear. That's not love, that's addiction. Take Mark, 45, from Seattle. He started dating Jenna, 39, after meeting her through mutual friends. She was confident, magnetic, and always the center of attention, whether at a dinner party or online. Mark admired her energy at first, but soon he noticed something deeper. Every time she posted a new picture and the likes didn't hit her usual number, she got distant, cold, restless. And when he didn't compliment her right away, she'd start fishing for it. "Do you even think I look good anymore?" Mark thought she was just insecure. But what he didn't realize was that Jenna wasn't connecting with him. She was using him as another mirror for her self-worth. That's the dangerous truth about women who crave validation. They don't build relationships, they build audiences. Every man in their orbit, ex-co-worker, friend, follower, plays a role in keeping their ego inflated. The relationship feels passionate at first because you're giving her what she craves. But once your attention becomes predictable, she starts seeking it elsewhere. Not because she wants to cheat, but because she's emotionally programmed to chase the high of being desired. From a Stoic point of view, this is the definition of emotional slavery. As Marcus Aurelius said, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. A woman addicted to validation dyes her entire sense of self in the opinions of others. Her peace, her mood, her self-image all shift based on external feedback. That's not confidence, it's dependency wearing lipstick. Now here's where men go wrong. They think they can outlove this addiction. They shower her with compliments, give her more time, more affection, hoping to fill her cup. But validation is a bottomless cup. The more you pour into it, the more it leaks. And the more she depends on you for emotional highs, the less she respects you, because you become predictable, and predictability kills attraction. The Stoic approach: don't compete with her need for validation. Step out of the game entirely. If she constantly needs reassurance, stay calm and consistent. Give her space to confront her emptiness, not by punishing her silence, but by refusing to participate in her chaos. Seneca once said, "He who seeks approval of others puts his happiness in their keeping." Apply that here. If you're dating a woman like Jenna, understand she doesn't need another man to adore her. She needs to face herself without applause. That's something no one else can do for her. When a woman truly values connection, she won't need you to constantly prove your interest. She'll feel secure in the quiet moments. She'll find peace in consistency, not excitement in uncertainty. Mark eventually walked away. Not in anger, in clarity. Because when you stop giving your energy to someone who only wants attention, you reclaim it for someone who can give it back. If you've ever been in a situation like this, type this in the comments. I choose depth. Because the moment you value connection over validation, you stop chasing shallow water. And stay right here, because what's next cuts even deeper. When her desire for excitement turns into emotional destruction, you'll want to hear this before it's too late. Number 8. High body count, low emotional depth. Let's get something straight. This isn't about shaming anyone's past. It's about patterns, psychology, and what repeated behavior reveals about a person's emotional capacity. When a woman has a long trail of relationships, flings, and situationships, it's not her history that's the problem. It's what that history represents. A high body count isn't just about physical experience. It's often a reflection of emotional detachment. She's learned to bond quickly and detach faster. She's practiced the art of short-term intimacy so many times that real vulnerability feels foreign. You'll see it in the way she talks casual about love, dismissive about pain, and proud of not catching feelings. From a Stoic lens, this tells you something crucial. She's mastered external pleasure, but she's lost internal grounding. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Replace man with person, and the message still stands. Freedom without self-control isn't freedom, It's chaos disguised as confidence. A woman who's constantly chasing new partners often isn't doing it out of empowerment. She's doing it to escape silence. Each new experience becomes a distraction from the emptiness she refuses to face. And because she's always moving, she never has to stop and feel what's missing depth. This creates a paradox that traps many men. At first, she seems thrilling. She's confident, uninhibited, and she makes you feel like you're the first man who truly gets her. But soon you realize every story she tells sounds recycled. Every deep conversation feels practiced. She's emotionally fluent, but not emotionally fluent with you. That's because emotional intimacy requires stillness. And for someone addicted to motion, constant dating, constant stimulation, stillness feels like death. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." That's the mindset you need when dealing with this kind of woman. You can't control her past, and you shouldn't try. What you can control is your choice, whether you engage with someone who uses connection as entertainment, or whether you seek depth that builds, not burns. Here's the hard truth. The more a person fragments their emotional energy across multiple partners, the harder it becomes for them to connect fully to one. It's not moral decay, it's neurological. The brain associates intimacy with novelty, not stability. And that means when things calm down, when real emotional work begins, she feels bored instead of bonded. This is why many men get blindsided. They mistake physical openness for emotional honesty. But they're not the same. Physical intimacy without emotional presence is just repetition, not connection. So how do you handle it stoically? You observe without judgment, but with discernment. Don't moralize her past. Analyze her present. Does she seek meaning, or does she seek distraction? Is she capable of sitting in emotional stillness, or does she panic when things get real? Seneca said. To be everywhere is to be nowhere. If her attention, her affection, and her emotions are scattered across memories and old flames, then she's nowhere, not even with you. The Stoic man understands that discipline applies not just to himself, but to what he allows into his life. Attraction is easy, connection takes depth, and when you choose depth, you stop mistaking chaos for chemistry. Because sometimes, what looks like experience is just exhaustion in disguise. Now stay close. What comes next exposes the final illusion that traps men in one-sided love, when she wants to own your devotion, not earn it. You'll want to hear this before it's too late. Number 9. The woman who loves the game, not you. You know the type. She's magnetic, unpredictable, and knows exactly how to keep you chasing. One minute she's sweet, affectionate, and saying you're different from other men. The next she's cold, distant, and acting like she barely knows you. You spend hours replaying her words, trying to figure out what changed. But nothing changed. That is the game. And she's addicted to it. Let's take a real example. Ryan, 41, from Denver, met Lisa, 36, at a friend's event. From the start, she made him feel alive again. She flirted with confidence, texted constantly, and made him believe he was her top priority. But the moment Ryan started to relax, when he thought things were becoming real, Lisa shifted. Texts slowed down, replies got shorter, and suddenly she was too busy. Ryan confronted her once gently, and she smiled, saying, "You're overthinking. I just like a little mystery." But it wasn't mystery, it was manipulation. Because every time Ryan started to pull away, she'd reel him back in with a late-night message, a photo, or a memory only they shared. She didn't love him. She loved the power she felt when he couldn't figure her out. That's the essence of the woman who loves the game. Her thrill doesn't come from connection, it comes from control. The chase excites her because it keeps her in power. Once she wins your devotion, the excitement fades, and she starts looking for the next emotional high. From a Stoic perspective, this is a test of mastery. not over her, but over yourself. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You become what you give your attention to." And when you give your energy to someone who plays emotional games, you start to reflect their instability. You become reactive, needy, and emotionally volatile, exactly what she needs to keep her power intact. A Stoic man, however, sees through the performance. He knows that love built on confusion isn't love, it's control disguised as chemistry. Instead of chasing clarity from her, he finds it within himself. He doesn't ask, "What did I do wrong?" He asks, "Why am I tolerating inconsistency?" Here's the truth. Most men don't want to hear women like this. Don't stop playing because you love them harder. They stop playing when the game stops working, when your calm is unshakable, when your attention becomes scarce, when your emotions stop reacting to their manipulation. That's when they lose interest, not because they've changed, but because they can't control you anymore. Ryan eventually learned this the hard way. The last time Lisa tried to pull him back, he didn't respond. No anger, no explanation, just silence. And within days, she reached out again, longer messages this time, full of warmth and nostalgia. But Ryan didn't reply, because once you understand that emotional games are her fuel, your silence becomes your power. A woman who loves the game needs players to exist. The moment you stop playing, the illusion collapses. So here's your takeaway: don't confuse intensity for intimacy. Don't mistake unpredictability for depth. True connection doesn't make you anxious, it makes you peaceful. If you've ever found yourself stuck in this kind of emotional loop, type this in the comments: "I don't play games." Because the day you say that, and mean it, is the day you reclaim your power. Now stay right here, because what comes next reveals the ultimate test when control flips, and she's the one who starts chasing. You won't want to miss how that shift happens. Number 10. The Stoic man's rule: walk early, lose nothing. Here's a truth most men learn too late. Walking away early doesn't mean you lost something. It means you protected your peace before it was stolen. The Stoic man doesn't cling to illusions. He recognizes when the balance of energy shifts, when affection turns to anxiety, when connection turns to chaos. And that's the moment he leaves, not out of bitterness, but out of strength. In today's world, men are trained to endure, to fix, to prove their loyalty, even when the relationship is draining them. You tell yourself she'll change, that her mixed signals are just fear, that her distance is temporary. But what you're really doing is negotiating your worth. And every time you tolerate what breaks your peace, you teach her and yourself that your boundaries are flexible. A Stoic man knows the difference between patience and self-betrayal. As Epictetus said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." The man who reacts with desperation, with pleading, or with endless second chances gives away the only thing he can truly control: his composure. But the man who walks early, when he recognizes manipulation, disrespect, or disinterest, retains the one thing no one can take: his dignity. Let's be honest, walking away hurts. It challenges your ego, your hope, and your desire to be the one who changed her. But that pain is short. The pain of staying too long, of watching your self-worth decay under the illusion of love that lasts years. Think about it like this. If a fire burns your hand, you don't keep it there hoping it will stop hurting. You pull away fast. The same rule applies to relationships that drain you. A Stoic doesn't need to prove how much he can tolerate. He proves how much peace he refuses to lose. And here's what most men don't realize: walking early often creates respect. Not because she admires your distance, but because it forces her to confront her own behavior. When you withdraw without drama, without begging for closure, you flip the frame. You show her you were never dependent on her validation, you simply chose her. And choices can change. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." When you walk early, you choose thoughts over emotions. You choose clarity over chaos. You choose strength over attachment. The Stoic man doesn't see walking away as an act of defeat. He sees it as alignment. If she cannot meet your peace with respect, your presence with honesty, or your energy with effort, then she's not meant to stay in your life. And that's not tragic. That's liberation. Understand this. You never lose a woman who was truly aligned with you. You only lose the illusion of someone you wanted her to be. When you live by this rule, walk early, lose nothing, your relationships evolve. You stop attracting drama, and you start inviting peace. You stop fearing loss, and you start commanding respect. So remember this, walking away doesn't mean you stopped caring. It means you started caring about yourself. That's the moment every Stoic man earns something far greater than love. He earns freedom. In this video, we've uncovered the uncomfortable truths. Most men ignore the types of women who drain your peace, the patterns that quietly destroy trust, and the emotional traps that disguise themselves as love. But more importantly, we've explored what it means to stand firm in your masculine frame, to see clearly, act calmly, and protect your energy before it's consumed. Because when you understand these red flags, you stop reacting blindly to attraction. You stop chasing chaos, and instead you start choosing peace. You start leading your relationships with awareness instead of emotion. That's the core of Stoic wisdom: strength through self-mastery, clarity through detachment, and peace through discipline. Every man who learns this truth becomes something rare in today's world. A man who doesn't fear walking alone, because he knows solitude is not weakness, it's control. And from that control comes true confidence, quiet power, and genuine connection with women who value depth, not games. If you found value in what you've learned today, and you want to go deeper into understanding female psychology, Stoic discipline, and the art of emotional control, consider becoming a member of the channel. Inside, you'll gain access to exclusive lessons, deeper breakdowns, and private insights I only share with members. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next video. Every week, we explore timeless truths to help you master yourself, your emotions, and your relationships. Thank you for watching. Stay grounded, stay disciplined, and I'll see you in the next one.